Hello, Safe Harbor Yogis. I'm so glad to be back with you again today. Those of you who haven't met me, my name is Jen. I've been practicing yoga and meditation for going on 14 or 15 years at this point, although I've probably lost count. And I absolutely love my practice and love sharing what I've found and found that works. So today we're going to go over a class regarding our identity, and we'll go a little bit more into detail. I will be in a chair for the class, as I know most of you are also in a chair. I will instruct as well to those of you who are on a mat or on the floor, so it'll translate through. So let's get started. So a few little tutorials prior to me jumping right in. This is Jasper as well. He will be joining us today for our class. Now, whenever I do end up mentioning about being in your chair and relaxing into your seat, what I mean by that is, again, you're sitting against the back of the chair, you're totally relaxed into it, the whole back of your body is touching something, and our feet are planted right on the ground here, about hip width distance apart from each other. Okay, so that is our kind of relaxing pose, so to speak. The other thing to know then, we are going to be moving forward on our chair a little bit. So again, within reason, within safety guidelines, just moving ourselves forward just enough so we can use our actual posture to do what we need to do. So that just means to sit a little bit forward on the chair. So that is fine. And then again, also feet are right underneath of our knees, and our knees and feet are about hip width distance apart from each other. So just go with the flow here. It's not going to be anything too crazy for us as far as yoga goes, and we'll go from there. So let's get settled in here. So everyone come into that relaxed seated position. So those of you on a mat, you're more than welcome to lay down for this part. Those of you in a chair, sit back, relax, let your feet hit the ground. And I want for all of us, again, if you are willing to close your eyes, I'd encourage you to do so. Otherwise, you of course do have the option of just getting your gaze down to the floor. The reason for closing your eyes is just to really go inward, that you're not being distracted by anything else around you. So it's taking away that extra sense, and allows for us to really relax into whatever we're doing. So again, either or, close the eyes or bring your gaze down to the floor, please. And we're going to take a deep, deep breath in here. Let's breathe in through the nose and then we'll sigh out through the mouth. So let's take an inhale here. Exhale through the mouth. We're going to do 2 more of those. What I would like you to picture as we're letting that big exhale go through the mouth is just letting anything that you're harboring, anything that's sitting with you that does not serve you at this moment, just let it go. Let it come out with that breath and let it leave. So let's take that inhale in through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. Inhale in. And exhale, sigh it out. Now let yourself relax into your seat. And I don't just mean sit here. I mean let yourself relax. And even bring it into your own mind, and quietly say it in your own mind that, when was the last time I fully relaxed? Probably not often enough is what the answer most likely is. And that really is the goal of any practice, any yoga, any meditation, anything that you're going to do along that Buddhist or spiritual side. It's all about becoming calm, becoming still, and being okay with that. So right now, for the next 40 or so moments together, what I want for you to do is to fully relax. So simply come into your element here. Forget about anyone who's around you, but still have respect for everyone in the room. Allow yourself to feel all of the things in your body that exist when you're still. Because when do we pay attention to that? Maybe when we're falling asleep, but otherwise we're so focused on our chatter that's going on in either ear of our minds and everything that's going around us and what we're seeing on television and what we've read on the news. It's not anything that is defining us. Okay, so what I want to get down to here today, and what I mean by what I said at the beginning here, is we're going to go through identity, is really boiling down not really who we are, but what we're not. So again, just kind of introducing that thought process in. So there's this quote from the Buddha who had said, "If you want to fly, give up everything that weighs you down." So again, if you want to fly, give up everything that weighs you down. So let that one sink in for just a second. Silently in your mind, I'm sure you have something that kind of is weighing on you. There's probably something that question just sparks. And you know, hey, what's weighing me down? What do I not need right now in my mind? That's what we want to work on today and let go of, at least in a sense, or start to let go of it, or even just simply diagnose it. Just know that, hey, this is what's weighing me down. This is what I need to work on to let go of. Because any process, any healing, any releasing of anything, that takes time. It takes some energy. It takes some work. So it's not going to be a linear thing. You're not just going to go in a straight line down a path. There's going to be some bumps and turns and hills and stop signs that you're going to be held up at along the way. It's not going to just be a straight shoot. So coming to terms with that, I think, is one of the biggest things. So getting real with you guys here. I was involved with an assault years ago. At this point, we're going on 6 and 7 years. Due to that, I was diagnosed with PTSD and anxiety. And not just the regular type of anxiety that some people just say, oh, I'm anxious. I mean, I had 21 triggers that caused panic attacks at one point. 21. Right now, years and years later, after seeing a therapist every day for the last 7 or so years, or excuse me, every week rather, for 7 or so years, after a lot of self-reflection, I was stuck in the mentality of, I am what happened to me. I am my anxiety. I am this PTSD-ridden person. And the truth of it was, that was the tiny tip of the iceberg. That's not who I am. That's a thing that happened to me. That's a cause and effect that made this come about. And realizing that these horrible things that can happen in our lives that really we feel that have shaped us and made us a little hard, a little stronger, but we hold on to the more of the fact that, hey, this happened, I am this. And that's not the truth. We are everything that's below that tip of the iceberg, that big, big chunk of ice that's below the water. That's who we are. So what I want us to do today is right now, in our minds, find whatever it is that you think you are being falsely defined as, or what in your mind you say, oh, I am blank. If it's not a positive thing, if it's something that it was an event, if it's something that was a one-time occurrence, that it was a bad habit that's now been broken or that you're working on breaking, be that thing for just a moment. Just bring it to your mind. And what I want us to do as we're breathing, as we're going through our class today, I encourage you to try to let that go. It may not happen today, it may not happen tomorrow, but at least you're starting the process. So, in our seats here, if you already don't have your hands somewhere, again, on your body, if they're just kind of resting on armrests or wherever they are, let's bring one hand to our heart and one hand right to our ribs or to our belly. Keep your eyes closed or gaze low. What I want us to do is feel our breath and feel our heartbeat at the same time. Because that's something that happens all day, every day, 24/7, as long as we are alive and in this physical body. And it's something we take for granted sometimes, that we know our bodies do it for us. So we just go about our day, we have our thoughts, we do what we need to do, we go to sleep, and we don't pay attention to that. So we're going to give it some attention. So with those eyes closed or gazed low, I want you to focus first on your heartbeat. Focus on the hand over your heart. Feel that heartbeat. Feel the rhythm of it. Mentally, just check in with it. Say, my heart is beating fast. My heart is beating slowly. This chick on the TV is making me anxious, so my heart's beating real fast. Just settle in there. Now bring that attention to your hand over your belly or your ribs. As you feel your belly expand and contract as you breathe. As we're not controlling our breath right now, this is just our natural state. Now link the two together for me. Pay attention to both the breath and the heartbeat, knowing that they're working together, knowing that they are a huge part of, again, what we are. We're humans. We breathe. We have bodies. Again, anything out there that's living and breathing has a body. And this is only our vessel for so long. So just show yourself some gratitude here for everything that's inside of us that's working all the time. Now, go ahead and drop your hands down to your lap. If you are on your mat, feel free to stay laying there. Just bend at your knees and bring your heels in toward your body. So just plant the soles of your feet on the ground so you're laying there with knees bent. Those of you in the chair can stay exactly as you are for the moment. We're going to come into a hip opening stretch. Now, in yoga, one of the big things of stretching, of allowing ourselves to open up in some areas where we may not usually do that, because there are some definitely strange looking yoga poses. But we're going to work a little bit on that, because all of our tension, all of our stress that we carry, a lot of the times is in our hips, our shoulders, or our neck. So we're going to narrow that down a little bit today. Maybe try to find where it's hiding in our bodies and let it go. So I'm just going to back up for the purpose of being able to see my feet in this video. But what we're going to end up doing is crossing an ankle over a knee. So it's the same if you're on the ground or if you're in a chair. So you have a few options here. We're going to keep our right foot planted on the ground here, and then we're just going to cross our left ankle over our right knee. Now we have our hands to be our helpers here. So you can see right now I'm holding on to the front of my ankle and the front of my shin here. So that is stopping that knee from just fully collapsing down, which again might not be the best thing for some people because everybody's body is different. So again, that's perfectly fine no matter how you look like in this pose. As long as you are trying to do it, you're in the right place. So as I'm holding on to my ankle and my shin here, it's stopping that knee from just collapsing down and maybe pulling muscles or anything like that. That's not fun. So feel free to keep it there. If you feel then like, oh, I think I could go down a little further, maybe just guide that knee down toward the ground a tiny bit more. So you have that option. You can also bring this foot in as close to your body as you'd like. So in yoga, there's a pose called lotus or half lotus, which is just like the flower that you may have heard of before. But that would involve putting the top of your foot on your thigh and kind of flipping the top of your foot toward the ceiling. That's an option if you're super bendy and you want to do that. But otherwise, the further away your ankle is from your body, the easier the pose is going to be. So again, let your hands gauge it. If you feel like that's enough and you want to just have one hand there, maybe just on your ankle, just rest the other one somewhere else. You can also use your left hand as a little weight on the top of your knee if you want more pressure there, more opening in that hip. You can use that as a little weight too and still have that ankle held on to and know you're in a safe spot. So find your version of this pose. And now we're going to pay attention to where we're at in the pose. So now that we have the big part of it down, let's go ahead and flex our foot. So what I mean by that is we're going to make our foot stand on the wall to the side of us. So we're going to make it flatter. We're going to bring our toes closer toward our knees. Okay. So paying attention to these little details once we're in it. Now, our goal, of course, is to relax within the pose. This is not something we normally do. We don't normally sit like this. We don't normally lay down like this. So acknowledging that that's a thing is totally fine. And I want you to now pay attention to the rest of your body. So not just this hip that we're paying attention to and working on, but the rest of us. Are you holding tension anywhere else in your body? Are you pursing your lips closed? Are you clenching your jaw? Are you furrowing your brow and closing your eyes too tightly? Are you holding on to tension in your lower back or your shoulders? If you have your shoulders shrugging up toward your ears, let them roll back onto your back and just settle down. So that allows our rest of our body to become that jello liquid feeling. And then also that then allows us to focus on the stretch. So that's where we want to be. So we're going to take 3 breaths together because yoga is all about coordinating breath and movement. So we're going to make a little bit of movement in this particular pose. As you can see, we're not going very far in this pose. But what we're going to do on our inhales is we're going to bring our knee up toward the sky, or if you're on the ground, toward your face. We're going to bring it up on an inhale, and on an exhale, release it down. Okay, so let's take that first inhale. We're going to do 3 of them. So inhale, knee comes up. Exhale, knee releases. Inhale, knee comes up. Exhale, knee releases. And one last time. Inhale, knee comes up. Exhale, knee releases down. Find if there's extra space now. Take another breath or 2 on your own. Focus on letting go of any tension in your body, especially in that hip. And once you've taken those few more breaths, we're going to slowly release that stretch just a little bit. So what I would like for you to do is bring your foot down, wiggle out your feet, kind of pulse them a little bit. We're going to go back into that pose for a moment, but just a slightly different version of it. So relax that leg, let the knee move, give it a little break from being bent like that. And then we're going to cross it back over one more time. And we're going to come into this little folded position. So I'm going to sit sideways for the purpose of this, just so you can see if you're watching the television. So what we're going to do is bring our left arm through this hole we created between our leg and our thigh, I guess you'd want to call it. So we're going to bring this arm through, so you can see I have mine through there. And from there, where we're going to go with that is we're going to go forward. So I would like for you to go ahead and bring that arm through, and I want you to just clasp that hand on your right knee or right shin. So we're just going to hold on to it here. So of course, we're in this crouched position here. We're kind of bent over. Now, what we want to do is hinge forward at our waist. So where you bend here at your waist is where we want to come down to. This top half of our body, we want to leave that as straight in a line as we can. So what we're going to do is we're just going to simply go down and forward. So lead with your heart down toward that leg. The further you go down, the more intense the hip stretch is. So you can gauge where you're going. So those of you on a mat, again, you're pulling your knees toward you. Again, you can, at this point, clasp your hands behind the back of that right thigh if you're on a mat, and then just let your knees come up toward your face. So you're lifting your feet off the ground. Those of you in the chair, we're just going to crouch down. So go ahead and give yourself that lean forward. Let your heart lead down toward the floor. Now, as we're holding on to this here, we're going to now round into it. So we're going to release that tension, that straightness of our spine. So I want to do this kind of gradually. Let's bring our chin to our chest. Let the top of your head become heavy. Maybe close the eyes. Relax the shoulders. Relax the spine. Feel yourself almost drifting down slowly toward that leg. And just know wherever you're stopped at, that is perfect. That is where you're supposed to be, and you're doing the pose correctly. If you're just going to that edge and staying there. So you don't have to feel like you have to be an overachiever here, just simply going into the pose and knowing, hey, I'm trying and I'm doing what is in my body. Take one more big breath. Maybe slightly rise out of the pose. Let your exhale fold you back in. And then our next inhale is going to bring us up to seated. And so everyone on the mat, you're laying back down here, bringing your feet back down to the ground. Those of us who are in chairs, go ahead and release that leg. Kick your legs out in front of you. Go ahead and move them around. Give them that little bit of a wiggle and release any tension that might have been built in that left knee. All right, guys. Same thing, opposite side. Less explanation this time because we know where we're going. So let's go ahead and cross our right ankle over our left knee this time. Also, I'd like for you to take some notice just from side to side what differences there are. The way we sit, the way we sleep, the way we stand, the way we walk, all of those things go into our mobility in our hips. And that's kind of what we're getting into as we're letting our knees rise and fall, as we're finding this stretch in our hip. Again, we're getting all into that. So let's flex our toes on our right foot. So we're standing on the wall to the side of us basically with that right foot. Again, same rules apply. So you can hold on to a knee, you can hold on to a shin, you can make your knees stay up in the air as much as you'd like with those arms. Relax the shoulders, relax the face, relax the jaw. We're going to do those 3 breaths, and we're going to let that knee come up on our inhales and go down on our exhales. So let's take that inhale, let the knee rise up. Exhale, let it fall. Inhale, let it rise. Exhale, let it fall. One last time. Inhale, let it rise. Exhale, let it come down toward the ground. Release as much tension in that hip as you can. And again, the further away that ankle is from the body, that is the less strenuous this stretch will be. Now we're going to thread that arm through. So this time we're bringing our right arm down and through. We're just going to clasp right on here to our knee or to our shin with that right hand on our left knee or shin. And keep that left hand on your ankle that's up in the air here. So we're still guiding that leg. Give yourself that lean forward. Lead with your heart down toward the floor. So that's where we're at here. Those of you on the mat, again, you're hugging your knee in toward yourself by interlacing your hands behind the back of the left thigh. So release as much tension as you can. Let your chin drop to your chest. Let your head become heavy. Find the most relaxed version of what you can be in this pose right now. Breathing through it, not holding the breath, but letting it flow. We're going to take one more breath here. I want you to slightly come out of the pose on that inhale, so rise a little bit. And on our exhale, just go ahead and go down a little bit more deeply. Hold it here for just a moment, about 2 breaths. Go ahead and sit yourself back up or let your feet come down to the ground if you are in the chair. And from where we're at right now, then let's go ahead and just wiggle out those legs. Okay, so kick them out in front of you. If you're on the mat, just go ahead and bounce your knees up and down, and just release anything that might have been in those knees that might be a little bit touchy or sensitive. So we're back in our seats again. We're back laying down on our mat. So what we're going to do from here, those of you on your mats, sit up, please. And what we're going to do is we're going to bring both legs in front of us on the mat. So we're going to sit in that L shape, almost like how we are in the chair here, but on the ground. So sit in that L shape with your legs directly in front of you. Those of you who are in the chair, we are going to keep our backs against the chair for the time being, just for safety. And we're going to extend one leg in front of us at a time. So let's start by extending our right leg out. So we're just bringing it even with the seat of our chair. So we're lifting it up here and we're flexing our toenail side of our toes back toward our face. So we're standing on the wall to the side or front of us, which direction you're facing right now. So making that foot flex, keeping it active. And it takes some strength, right? It takes a little bit to hold that leg up. You may feel those little shaky movements. That's okay. I always like to believe that anytime we're feeling those little shaky things, as long as it's not causing us pain, that's helping us grow. Sometimes the things we don't want to do are the things we should do. So we're going to give that a shot here again within reason. We're just going to extend that, and now we're going to play with this foot. So we're going to point our toes and then bring our toes back toward our face. So go ahead and point your toes toward the front of the room, and then we're going to flex them back like we're standing on the wall. Do that 2 more times. Point your toes forward, flex your toes back, point your toes forward, flex your toes back. And those of you who are on the ground can be doing the exact same thing. From here, we're just going to go ahead and let that foot come back down to the ground, opposite side. So we're going to do our left leg out first, or on this side now for the other part. So let's go ahead and bring our left leg out. We're flexing those toes. Our toenail side of our toes are coming right back toward our face. And we're using that strength in ourselves to hold that leg straight right now. Let's point the toes and stand on the wall, flex them. Let's point them, flex, point one more time, flex your toes back. Go ahead and release that leg back down, or just stop the movement in your ankle if you're on the mat. So we're going to add another movement to this now. So we're going to extend our legs long. If you're in your chair, we're going to extend our right leg long again this time. Okay, so right leg comes out. This time we're just going to scoot ourselves forward. You can bring that foot down for a moment and bring yourselves forward in your chair about halfway. Again, safety is first and paramount. So make sure that you're not going too far into the chair that you're liable to tip. We want to be safe here, of course. So go to wherever you can in the chair. I always like to kind of just wiggle a little bit forward and know that I have to have some weight in my seat, that I can't just let myself tip. Okay, so we're going to extend this right leg long. Okay, long and straight. I have my heel on the ground, my toes are coming back toward my face, and my left leg here, I have my foot planted, my ankle's underneath my knee here. And we're going to fold forward over this right leg. So those of you on the ground, what you can do is you can simply either bend at this left leg and bring the sole of your foot to that inner thigh and just kind of make a little kickstand out of it. That is an option. So feel free to do that over that leg. So all of us, let's inhale and bring our arms high above us over top of our head. And exhale, and we're going to give ourselves this fold forward, but we're going to do it very gently. Let's walk our fingertips down our leg. So we are making sure that our seat is planted. And once we get here, I'd like for you, once you find, like, okay, my hamstring will not let me go any further down, find that place, bring your hands to your chair. Okay, so we're giving us some extra stability in a chair since we are sitting forward on it. Once you find this, we're going to relax the neck and shoulders and head. So let's first bring our chin to our chest. Let your head drop heavy. Let your arms press back, but also feeling that stretch in that right leg. Those of you who are on the ground, you can simply walk your fingertips down your right leg to wherever you can be, or to either side of that on the mat. So we're still getting the same benefit either way. Now slowly, if you're in your chair, use your hands as your seat to try to bring yourself back up. We're going to swap sides here, so go ahead and wiggle out the knees if you need, and then we're going to bring our left leg out straight in front of us. Those of you on the mat, go ahead and bring the sole of your right foot to your inner left thigh. Those of us in a chair, we're just going to plant that ankle right underneath of our knee. Straighten out that left leg. Keep your hands on the chair after we are swinging them above our head. So let's first swing our arms high up above our head, get some movement in our upper body. Release those hands back down, bring them back to the seat behind you, and slowly let yourself hinge. Again, be as safe as possible, of course. Once you're as far as you can hinge down, as far as that hamstring will let you, let your chin come to your chest, let your head become heavy, and just let yourself fold in here. Take 3 breaths at your own pace here. Make them intentional. Let every exhale release something. We're going to inhale and sit ourselves back up here. Go ahead and rebend that left leg. And from here, we're going to do a little bit of twisting work. So now we've done our bottom half of our body. We're going to work our way up. So from here in our chairs, we're going to sit a little bit forward. Those of you who are on your mats, again, stay seated with your legs out in front of you for the time being. You can also, if you're on the ground, you can sit in crisscross applesauce with your legs, or you can bring the soles of your feet together and your knees wide just to bring yourself into a comfortable seat. Whatever that may look like for you, that is totally acceptable. So what we're going to do is come into some twists. So we're going to twist over toward the right now. Okay, so we're going to twist toward the right. What I'd like us to do is bring our arms out to a T first. So let's bring them out. Let your palms face forward toward the front of the room. And your arms are engaged here. So we're like shooting them right out from our shoulders. We're going to twist to the right. So let's go ahead and bring our right arm kind of back behind us. Let your torso follow that, and keep your feet planted. Now, once you've found that, if that's a lot in that back shoulder, just go ahead and let that arm casually find the back of your chair. Or you can, again, if you're on the ground, bring fingertips behind you. Or in a chair, technically, you can too, I guess. So finding that, letting this left arm stay out and really reach forward in your chair while you're giving yourself this twist. So we're twisting from our waist and letting our heart come toward the right side of the room, and our gaze can come to the right or toward that back shoulder. Same thing, opposite side. Let's come back to the middle. Bring those arms out. Sorry about that, guys. My headphone died and my video stopped. So let's go ahead and continue here. Gotta love this technology. All right. So we're going to twist over to the left. That's where we're going here. So let's bring those arms out to a T here, palms facing forward. Give your torso that twist over toward the left. Let this left arm either find the chair, find our seat, find anywhere that's going to allow us to twist. Keep that right arm out in front of us and help that open up our chest a little bit. So you can really move that arm. The more you bring it back, the more it's going to open up your chest and your shoulders. So finding this twist that our seat's staying the same, we're not really moving our legs, we're just twisting our torso. Come back into center here. Go ahead and come back and unwind yourself. Now, coming into another kind of intentional twist here, we're just going to simply use our hands in this one. So bring your, those of you on the ground who have their knees out wide and feet more in toward your center of your body, we're going to do the same thing as well. So this should translate well. We're going to bring our knees a little bit wider, so a little bit wider than our hips this time. Let's bring our left hand to our right knee, and you can bring your right hand to your lower back in this one. And again, simply twisting. So this time we're using a little bit of leverage, which is why this one is our second version of the pose, so we know where we're going with it. So simply giving ourselves this little twist, giving our back that support with our right hand, and simply looking back toward that back shoulder or toward the right side of the room. So breathing here. Once you've had that third breath, unwind, same thing, opposite side. Right hand comes to our left thigh, and then bring your left hand to the small of your back. Give yourself the twist to the left. Again, breathing here the whole time. Take 3 big breaths, however you'd like. Excellent. Come back into center here. And from where we're at now, we're going to come into a resting pose. So this one won't be sitting against the chair. It'll be more of a lean forward, but we're not going to have that hip action going here. So it's going to just let us release into this pose.
So sit maybe 2 inches away from the back of the chair. You don't have to be too far forward for this one. And I'd actually encourage you to sit a little bit further back because your knees can even be, back of your knees can even be touching the chair in this case. Bring your knees hip width distance again. And then heel toe your feet out just a little bit wider. Okay, so our knees are wider than our hips. Our feet are wider than our hips. We're going to do a fold forward. So I'm going to show you this from this angle first. That again, you can see where I'm hinging. I'm putting my hands right at my waist where I know that that fold is going to happen. So I'm putting my hands here as a guide and I'm just bringing my chest down toward the ground. Now, if this is too much for you, hands come to our legs. We're going to use those as leverage to allow our body to not go too far into the pose. So without holding tension, we're going to at least hold ourselves up. If you would like to go further into this pose, you have the option of leaning down. You can get as far down as you'd like. If you'd like to get all the way down here, if that's in your body, and you can make yourself kind of come down all the way and rest your ribs on your thighs, that's an option. These hands like I have here, and you can gladly do that too and really still have that extra strength. Or bring a hand to the ground, bring another hand to the ground. Let your shoulders come in between the legs, let the head fall, let the arms come heavy. So you have a few options here to come between. So you can see right now I'm folded into it. So I am all the way in and just letting my chin be by my chest. The top of my head is reaching down toward the floor. I have no tension in my arms, but my armpits are kind of on top of my knees. So I'm not just fully just hanging out here and have no support. I still have that guidance, that meeting of my armpits by my knees here. So finding whichever version of this is, and the purpose of this is to invert. So to bring our head below our heart. Again, release the blood, reverse the blood flow rather in our bodies. So that's where we're going here. So I encourage you all once again in this pose to close your eyes. Let the head become heavy and arms become heavy. Let your breath slow down. And also come back to that thought, that identity that we give to ourselves. I want you to bring that identity to mind, not for the reason to dwell on it, but for the reason to acknowledge it. Know that, hey, I give myself this story and I don't need that story. The story does not define me. So give yourself that thought, let that go through your mind a few times. Let go of any of those extra thoughts that might be floating around in there that don't pertain to this moment. And then we're going to slowly sit up from wherever we are. So release that chest from the ground. Slowly walk your hands back up your body. You may feel some dizziness, some lightheadedness. Know that is completely normal. And again, just sit back into your chair for me or lay down on your mat, whichever version you need, and just simply relax. You could even let your head drop back a little bit in your chair. But simply let yourself come back into your body, into that space. So let's see where we're at time-wise. We are perfect. Okay, so from here, guys, we've done a little bit of upper body, a little bit of lower body. Now we're going to just get into the shoulders and the neck a little bit before we say goodbye for today. So we're going to roll the shoulders here. We're going to bring them up toward our ears, crunch them all the way up. Let them roll down your back. Even let your elbows come backward by doing that, and let your chest open up. And then let your arms just hang down. Bring your shoulders forward, continuing that circle. Bring them back up toward your ears. Let them drop back onto your back. Let your elbows poke backward a bit. And then let the arms come down. One more time for going backward here. And then just let the arms hang heavy naturally. This time we're going to go the opposite direction. So go ahead and bring your shoulder blades toward one another. Bring your elbows back. Let your shoulders come forward. Hunch them forward, maybe even round into it a little bit. And then let them drop down. You can move your torso as you do this. Go ahead and bring the shoulders back, elbows back, bring them forward. One last time, roll them in that direction, coming forward, and let the shoulders drop. Go ahead and wiggle out the shoulders, wiggle out the arms. And this time we're gonna work on the neck. So let's bring our left hand over to our right ear. So right over top of our head. We're gonna use this hand as a gentle weight. So no tugging, just using it as it's there. Let your left ear come toward your left shoulder just a little bit. And still doing this within safety, again, just making sure if you do have any neck issues that you're being mindful of that. Then release that hand. We're gonna roll our neck in a circle. So bring your chin to your chest, right ear to right shoulder, drop your head back, and bring your left ear to left shoulder, chin to chest. Bring your gaze back up. This time, we're gonna go ahead and bring our right arm up. Bring your right hand to your, toward your left ear. Go ahead and give that gentle weight, that little tug toward, bringing our ear toward our right shoulder. So coming into this, releasing it, releasing that hand back down. Let's roll our neck in the opposite direction, so let your head drop back. Right ear to right shoulder, chin to chest, left ear to left shoulder, head goes back. Beautiful. From here, let's go ahead and sit back in our chairs if you haven't done so already. So come back into that relaxed position. If you're not laying down on your mat already, feel free to do so. And just coming into a little reflection at the end of our time today together. So plant your feet firmly on the ground, or feel the whole back of your body laying there if that's the case. And we're going to take a breath to close our eyes. We're going to take an inhale with our eyes open, and as we exhale, let the eyes close. So take that inhale, exhale, close the eyes. Do a quick check-in with your body while it's still. Go all the way from the top of your head, through your face, making sure there's no tension there, you're not clenching your jaw. Bring your attention to your shoulders, that they're not coming up toward your ears. That you're not really putting any stress on the arms the way that you have them resting. That other than your posture against the chair, you're not holding on to anything in the spine or torso or hips. And then go all the way and feel down to our feet, where our feet are planted on the ground. Almost picturing those roots of a tree almost growing up through our feet and connecting us to our ground around us, to the earth here. Knowing anytime that your mind's up somewhere in outer space and you can't quite find it, know that you have this option of grounding, of rooting yourself into the earth, knowing that you're meant to be here. You're a part of this journey for a reason. And as we're here, let's go ahead and just let our chin come down toward our chest. Let the head drop heavy. So your gaze, if your eyes are open, would be right at your lap. But I still encourage you to keep them closed. Last thing that I wanted to share here with you all as we're in this slightly meditative state. The ending to a really beautiful poem called Not by Erin Hansen. At the end of the poem, she says, "You're made of so much beauty. but it seems that you forget when you decide that you decided you weren't, when you decide that you are not defined by all the things you're not. So again, you're made of so much beauty, but it seems as you forgot when you decide that you are defined by all the things you're not. So knowing that there's beauty in the fact that we're all a little bit broken. We're all a little bit messed up sometimes. I don't think there's one person out there that can say, hey, I haven't had something crazy happen to me, or I have never come upon misfortune. And if they haven't come upon misfortune, I'm very glad for them, but I doubt that there is very many people out there that can really fall into that box. So just knowing it's okay to not be okay, and anything that we're telling ourselves as a story, anything that's our past, we are not defined by that. We're defined by our actions now, in this moment, knowing that we are in control of that part of it. We can't change the past. We can only direct ourselves toward our future. We can't control it. So just being the best version of you that you can each day is where you need to be. And allowing yourself to be present in each moment instead of dwelling on that past or being too anxious about the future. Just know that the only thing we can correct and where we can be in this world is right now. So, coming back into the room, coming back into our bodies. Make some small movements with your fingers and toes, wiggle them around. Make those motions a little bigger, wiggle the feet, wiggle the hands, move the wrists and the ankles. If you'd like, bring the arms high above the head, come into a full body stretch. Create the longest version of you that you can here in your seat. And then we're gonna bring our palms to touch right above our heads and bring our hands down to our heart. Bring your thumb knuckles right into your sternum here, press them in, feel that connection again with our heartbeat. And ending with the yogic word that means the light in me sees and honors the light in you, and that we're all one, which is namaste. Either out loud or in your head. We're going to end our class. I thank you so much for joining me today. Know that you are not defined by just one moment or one event in your life. Know that you are so much more than that, and I hope that you all can find that today and continue to work forward on that. Let's all bow forward with our heads. Thank ourselves, thank each other. Namaste. Thank you very, very much for joining me here today, guys. If you should have any questions at all whatsoever, feel free to direct them to Sarah. She'll be able to forward any questions to me or any comments, or if there's anything next week that you feel that you would like to work on or that is a helpful thing for you, feel free to let her know. She'll be able to pass that forward to me. But in the meantime, thanks again for practicing with me. Have a lovely week. I'll see you next week.